Well, hello everyone in Ballina Parish, St Mary's and St John the Baptist. Though I can't see you, it's great to be speaking to you on this important feast day, Guinea Martyrs. Thanks for the invitation, Matthew. I'm recording this talk in St Cuthbert's Church at Prospect, one of the suburban churches in the inner northern suburbs of Adelaide. I'm here because right behind me is a stained glass window in memory of Lilla Lashmar, one of the martyrs of New Guinea we are remembering today. Lilla was a parishioner here at Prospect before she went to what was then known as Papua in 1920. The country we now know as Papua New Guinea was then two territories, Papua in the south and New Guinea in the north. In 1942, Lilla was teaching at a mission school near Sangara in the northern province when the Japanese landed about 50 kilometres away at Gorna and started moving inland, hoping to make their way over the Owen Stanley Range into Port Moresby. Lilla and other mission staff tried to walk to safety, but were captured by the Japanese and were executed at Boona Beach. New Guinea Martyrs Day remembers 12 people who were serving the Anglican Church in Papua and New Guinea when the events of World War II, and particularly the Japanese invasion, impacted them. They were teachers, nurses, priests, lay workers and evangelists. Most were either Australian or English, but two were Papuans, Lucien Tapiadi and Leslie Gariardi. They are called martyrs because they were killed in the course of their mission service, either by Japanese forces or local Papua New Guineans in 1942 and 1943. They all had the opportunity to go to safety as the war drew closer, but all decided to stay and continue their work. The 12 Anglican martyrs we remember today are just a very small number of the Christian workers who were killed in New Guinea during World War II. Sadly, all the churches lost people, not just the Anglicans. The English word we translate as martyr means witness in Greek. It has come to be used to describe someone who dies for or because of their faith. In being prepared to die for their faith or because of their faith, the martyr bears witness to their faith and demonstrates their commitment to it. The deaths of the 12 in New Guinea were tragedies in the midst of a much greater and even more horrible tragedy, World War II. And as you read the stories of the deaths of these 12, you can't help feel great sadness that these good and devoted people were killed in circumstances that were violent and must have been very, very frightening. They had done nothing deserving punishment. They were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. The martyrs' deaths were very sad and seem an incredible waste. And yet their commitment to Jesus, the work they'd been sent to do, and the people they had been sent to serve was a great encouragement to the church in PNG. And after the war was over, their example really helped the growth of the church in that country. What was a total disaster actually ended up bearing a lot of really good fruit, as people in Australia and England, as well as Papua New Guinea, were inspired by the commitment and the love of the martyrs and offered to serve and support the work of the church. It's good for us to remember the New Guinea martyrs. It's good to remember the reality of their sacrifice. It's good to give thanks for them. But we can do that and then just go home today from church or turn the video off, and that's about it, really. But there are actually three things we can do now in 2020, even in the midst of the COVID-19 uncertainty, so that the sacrifice of the New Guinea martyrs is not just a perhaps sentimental memory. The first is to remember the meaning of the word martyr, that is, witness. A witness is someone who sees or knows something and provides testimony to that truth. The reality is that all who call themselves Christians are called to be witnesses, witnesses for Christ. We don't need to die to be witnesses for Jesus. We can consciously be witnesses by living our lives in such a way that shows our commitment to Jesus and his reality for us. We can also use opportunities we have to speak of what we know to be true about God as we see God in Jesus. We don't speak someone else's theory or someone else's story. As witnesses, we speak of what we know to be true from our experience, and we can all do that. All of us who are Christians because somehow or other the reality of God has become clear to us. So we have a story to tell. We can be witnesses for Christ. Part of the very strong witness of the New Guinea Martyrs was not so much what they said, although that was certainly very clear, but what they did. They were there serving the people. They had the chance to leave as the war got closer, but they did not leave. Their commitment to their Christian work, because of their commitment to Jesus Christ, was their witness. Their life, as well as their words, told the story. We are called to be witnesses wherever we are, to show by our life our loyalty to Jesus Christ, to take opportunities when we have them to speak what we know to be true about God. As we remember the New Guinea Martyrs, we can honour them by following in their footsteps as witnesses where we are, as they were witnesses in New Guinea. The second thing that we can do is to pray for the church in Papua New Guinea. PNG is a beautiful country with wonderful people, but there are enormous challenges there. The geography is incredibly rugged. The weather is very tropical, and that means hot and wet, which means lots of rain and floods and, sadly, tropical diseases like malaria. Most of the people are subsistence farmers. Education for children is haphazard, and healthcare away from the two major cities is very limited. The Anglican Church of Papua New Guinea continues to try to bear witness to Christ in very trying circumstances. They really need our prayers. So to pray regularly for the Anglicans in PNG and the work of the church there would just be fantastic. And third, we can support the church in PNG. This year there are two projects especially that ABM, the Anglican Board of Mission, is offering that will make a real difference in PNG. The first is an adult literacy project to help the many adults in PNG who have missed out on an education to learn to read and write. And the second supports Newton Theological College, the one training college the Anglican Church in PNG has for training its clergy. These are really worthwhile projects, and supporting them is a tangible way we can not only honour the martyrs, but actually continue the work they were doing in PNG when they were killed. There is no doubt that Australia is going through a testing time at the moment as we try to cope with coronavirus. Many of us have had a really difficult year. And in situations like this, it's very easy for us to become a bit self-focused as we try to make the best of things. So I really want to thank you for remembering the New Guinea Martyrs. It's easy in our current situation to just be tangled up in other things. But thanks for remembering the martyrs. Thanks for continuing to bear witness to Christ where you are. And thanks for supporting the church in PNG by your prayers and by your giving. The death of those 12 people was very sad, but they didn't die for nothing. They died for something incredibly important, that the love of God shown in Jesus for all the people of the world should be known and lived. May the Lord give us grace to take our part in that great project as witnesses for Christ, supporting the church in PNG as they continue to make the love of God shown in Jesus known to all.